One Piece chapter 1125, title What Constitutes Death, has just dropped an hour ago. My fucking word. What a chapter. What I what a chapter. I will not write a script for this chapter. This is fresh. It's gonna be my third read. I'm going to read it the third time and just discuss what happens in the chapter. So Onichild Yamato and the Holy Inari Shrine Pilgrimage, Volume 13. Oden's castle is to be rebuilt, but the nigga, the Minamoto, the guy who we saw Frankie working for, is missing. The carpenter, he's missing. Oden castle being rebuilt, I'm happy. The rest, I don't care. Let's get straight into the chapter. So, we're at Egghead after the Straw Hats had left, and the Marines are loading the Seraphim, the weaponized Sea Beast, and the they are loading the Seraphim as soon as they charge. As for the weaponized Sea Beast and Mark III Pacifistas, I think this means the Pacifistas had to have been gotten rid of simply because Bonnie, so that control Bonnie has, they have to get rid of the pacifistas. The sea beasts I don't get, but they weren't really that strong. Lucci and Kaku. We see Lucci and Kaku walking as the other Cypherpole agents ask where Stussy is, and Lucci says she was killed in action. He looks like he's just saying it for the sake of it, but Kaku, man, compared to when we last saw him, he looked dark when he told Stussy to run away. But man, he looks like he's going through it here. Saturn. Saturn is talking about how the government, at the end of the day, in the video I made a month ago talking about whether the Gorosei failed, I said they failed simply because Vegapunk's message going out overweighed the W's. Because like he says here, they came to Egghead with 3 main goals. Kill the Stella, obtain York Punk Records, protect the Mother Flame. Those are the 3 goals, and they achieved the 3 goals. However, Saturn himself says there was one big failure. Vegapunk's message going out. And here he says all the things are right. However, there was one critical hiccup. We see all the Vice Admirals, Dodd, Doberman, all of them, Bluegrass, they're all here. And to them, they think the hiccup was letting Bonnie and Emperor Straw Hat leave. And that their Grand Buster Call and 9 Vice Admirals couldn't get the job done. And they want to go to Elbaf. Vice Admirals, let me remind you, apart from Bluegrass and Doll are the only Vice Admirals I can say did shit all of Egghead. The rest were fucking useless. Terrible. The nigga with the long neck, I got one punch from Frankie, he was down. But wherever, they want to go to Elbaf. I don't give a fuck. However, Saturn says, no, forget Elbaf. Once again, Emperor Straw had been there, like said when they were first told about the Egghead Island incident. The appearance of Emperor Straw Hat was not something that could have been foretold. However, that was chapter 1078. However, he says Vegapunk's message going out and the Iron Giant resurfacing to help the pirates, that was the main disaster they fell under that made this an unequivocal loss for the government side. He says it's ironic, really. And then we get a 200 years ago flashback. So, this confirms a already well speculated theory. You know, we saw Saturn look the same during the Kuma flashback at God Valley. But this is 200 years ago and he looks the same. So the theory that the Gorosei are unaging, just husks, we'll see later in the chapter, is very true. It's very true, we see it here. And once again, so if everybody can remember, when chapter 1118 came out, the chapter where Bonnie became Gear 5, the main theory was, wouldn't it be funny if Imu or the other Gorosei asked Saturn, buddy, You gave Bonnie the fruit. Your science and your research is what allowed Bonnie to have the fruit, allowing her to become a second Joy Boy Nika, the government's biggest enemy. And people were like, will he have to face repercussions when they get back to Marie Joie? And here is another thing. The Iron Giant attacked Marie Joie 200 years ago. We already knew this at the beginning of Egghead. We're told this around like 1062, when Luffy was with, or 1064, when Luffy was with Vegapunk. I'm not sure which chapter specifically I have it on screen if I edit this video. But here we see, after the Iron Giant attacked, it was not the scientists who chose to hide it, like Vegapunk said. No, Saturn ordered them. The scientists of the time were going to destroy it because they were simply ordered to do it, probably by the other four Gorosei. But Saturn says he would take responsibility should it be uncovered, that he wanted the scientists to go out and study the ancient robots. Interesting. This is very, very interesting. This is a call by Saturn to do this. And we'll see later in the chapter, the Bonnie thing and this will come back to really, really hurt him, because the scientists say thank you, and Saturn himself says it. It remained dormant for 200 years, and yet it clearly moved to protect Straw Hat Luffy. He knows, oh shit, those are two big ass fuck ups that came out on the same day that are coming back to me. He's gonna have to take responsibility when Emu and the other elders ask about this. Doberman says, yo, as a humble insect, you saying Vegapunk's message being allowed to come out is more of a problem to the government than the Emperor of the Sea leaving and escaping our clutches. That was worse to us. Does that mean Vegapunk's message had some truth to it? Saturn looks at him. He looks at Doberman. And for the first time since I think he used it on Luffy, I can't remember, it was between 11:10, 11:19. He used it on Luffy and Luffy just ate the attack. The eye gleam thing is seen again. And Doberman is hit. And the other vice admiral with the long beard immediately there, and they call for a medic. But Doberman is kaput. Doberman is done. I don't think he's dead. I think he's just fucking well injured. I would like it if he was died. I would like it if Oda comes out and says it. But I would like it if it was in story, because right now Oda is in beef for saying things outside of story. But I digress. I'll make a video about the Vivre card and Frankie Queen bullshit another time. So, next we go inside the lab and we see York. We remember 11:23. Punk himself said they have to make sure the Island Cloud factory thingy is of priority. It has to be working. And we see why. I'll spoil it. The other punks, every punk apart from Lilith and York is still alive, because those two are still alive in their body. Those two are still alive. And what's it called? Edison. I think, yeah, Edison. Yeah, that's Edison. They're still alive. And the others are, like he said, the punks aren't dead. So, here we see York is there and she clocks Edison is still active. And we see right here, York tries shooting, nothing happens. Explosion. This is a big explosion. I wish we saw more of this real gun, but she didn't say. Punk Records has been taken by who? Shaka, Edison, Pythagoras, Atlas. Those four have, with Punk's intelligence, taken away the Island Cloud. Now, not that kind of Punk Records. That's gone. My question is, we'll see them talking later in the chapter, but we don't see the main stellar body talking. So I'll go and I'll give my theory right now. I think this, when the Stellar himself told Sanji in the flashbacks in 11:23 that his death is important. I think what he meant, and to kind of like, remember people were kind of confused, like, Stella said him dying in 1123, no, him dying is important, but then another, I think it was Lilith said in last chapter, or 1122, or 1123 as well, that, no, it was 1123, yeah, 1123, that all the punks are still alive. I think she meant the satellites are still alive. Stella himself is dead. I think Stella, no matter how much he was able to split his mind, the man who was born, Dr. Vegapunk, who ate the Nomi, that's like the brain fruits, is dead. I think Stella is dead. We cut to Marijua. I'll get back to him when we see that. We cut to Marijua as the Celestial Dragons are reacting about how Vegapunk can't tell me the truth. Someone talking about Akainu going to handle Kuma's escape and how the world sinking doesn't affect them. So they knew this. And it's like when people remember when we saw Charles' sister saying she didn't know about anything to do with the voice, and she put like, how? I think they simply know there was a war. We were the winners. We're the kings of the fucking world. That's all the main Celestial Dragons know. But they do know the world sinking, that does not affect us. We're on top of the fucking world. We're in the sky. The food situation we saw with Sabo. Sabo and the Rev, they destroyed the food stocks. We see over here. One Celestial Dragon goes to the chef like, yo, I ordered beef, you give me fish. We're like, yo, we ain't got stock. Killed. We see on death. That's how they don't get snacks. They're missing meals. These are famine. They want to torture who's responsible. This is a response we expected to see, and we are seeing. This is not important to us. We can ignore this. The next part. Oh my fucking god. The Room of Authority. Saint Figureland Garling, prospective father of Shanks, the champion of the God Valley incidents. He was the former ruler, king, governor of God Valley. He walks into the Room of Authority. The other Gorosei, interestingly, before anything happens, they talk to him differently. They talk to him like he's an equal, meaning that God's Knights do not really respond to what the Gorosei say. They're not there to protect the Gorosei. They work strictly for Imu under Imu, because Garling walks in, they say, Garling, you dickhead, what are you doing here? And he said, new orders have been bestowed upon me. Walkery looks at him, new orders, from whom? Jupiter, what are you saying, Garling? Mars, tread lightly, you forget yourself. He has veins, he is very angry. He looks kind of displeased, not angry. I say, he looks displeased that Garling is here. And then even Venus, the lines over the eyes in his glasses. Garling says, taking off the glasses, we see the lines. The Vegapunk known as York shall now henceforth be under my purview, as I was just named the new Defense Science Warrior God. What? What does that mean? What does that mean? Exactly. When I read this 20-30 minutes ago, I was like, wait, he's the new Defense Science God. Oh, we saw Saturn up there, he was there 200 years ago. He was gonna fucking kill him. I wasn't sure, but I had a good idea. Forget that Shanks' father, granddad, is now a Gorosei. Shanks basically is tied to the Gorosei. Wow. Mars says, don't tell me ... And they look. Garland continues, the world is heading for turmoil. An unprecedented level of rebellion is imminent. Let us work together, better the world. My fellow elders. Title card. 5 Elder Planets. Saint Figureland Garling. Defense Science Warrior God. Wow. We see Jupiter. Lines. Exclamation marks. He knows. And we go back to Egghead Island. Saint Saturn. The vice president are like, what the fuck's happening to him? He's screaming. We see he's choking, he's holding himself. The ooze is coming out, and it looks like the summoning circle type thing is there. The vice admirals are confused. Like, what do we do? The world's overseers are struggling. Like, one of the world overseers something's happening to him. We can't do shit to him. It's a disease. And then Saturn, he's screaming. He withers away. He withers complete. He looks like he has like the ominous black things, but it kind of looks like when Luffy is out of Gear 5. He's withering, he's screaming. He says, "No, it can't be. I'm." All the vice admirals react. You see Saturn's eye. What there? Imu sama. Imu, angry ass voice. You see the bubble around him. It looks very angry. Saturn. Joy Boy was behind that escape. And you allowed it to happen. Saturn is saying, "Have mercy," but he says Imu sama in his head, with the how they talk telepathically, but outright, he yells, "Imu ah." Those are Saturn's last words. In his head, Imu sa. That's Saturn is dead. We see a big. It doesn't really look. The lines look thicker than the hockey lines. I don't know. Maybe I'll bring up the scene of Joy Boy hockey in 1122 to 1121, and then I'll show this side by side. If it's similar, this is hockey. If the lines look this similar, you know what? In this I'm recording this live. I'll bring it up. I'll bring it up right now. 1122. The time is at hand. If I look at the hockey, yes, over here I'm looking at the lines. The lines for the Joy Boy hockey are like the usual hockey lines, just long white lines, kind of like move. They kind of branch off. However, this ones look more violent. Like they look darker shade, and like they look like they are not like going. On screen you will see it, but I feel like they look different. So I don't think this is the same type of hockey. But still, Saturn is dead. The vice admirals are locked back, so it is hockey. I just don't think it's the same level of hockey as thingy. Maybe it is because this is Imu's hockey basically. And then a skeleton. Saturn is dead. That's just it. We move on. We see the punks talking on Punk Records about moving it. York's a traitor. How they can't really do much because they're using a roaming cloud, but they don't have funding, so they can't develop more. And it's gotta leave it to their partners. Then Edison brings up everyone's body, so he has Edison's head, Shocker's body, like Shocker's torso and legs. What's it called? Atlas's left arm, Pythagoras's right arm, and Shaka says, "Oh, I know you love my proportions," and they're just talking. And they say we're gonna toss out York's spare parts, and then they call Witheria, and they're like, "Oh, Beckbook, I thought you were dead." Final scene of the chapter. Before that, Saturn. Wow. For the only Gorosei left there, him dying is crazy, and it proves he was the weakest. He was the most expendable, but he did have the most character as a Gorosei. I need to make a video on Saint Saturn. I'll come back to him. Kamabaka Queendom. So, Koala and the deputies of the commanders of the Rev are going over Vegapunk's message about, voice entry, massive war, ancient weapons, the wall flooding. Whoever claims the One Piece no longer becomes king of the pirates, but gets all this power. The world sinking. Sabo brings up how the celestial dragons, how the first ones moved to the top of the red line, and that's how they knew. I want to talk about what Ivankov says. I won't say it in Ivankov's accent, like I'll say it. There's also Tequila Wolf. We know about Tequila Wolf. Robin was there. Vodka Wolf, Rum Wolf, and Bourbon Wolf. I did not know about this. And when I'm editing this, I'll show whether I should bring up it's on the wiki or not. This is the first I'm hearing of vodka, rum, and bourbon wolf. This is the first time I'm hearing about this, which means if Tequila Wolf was in the East Blue, vodka, rum, bourbon, I won't try to say what blues they're in. Let's say vodka is Russia. Russia is in the north of the world. So let's say North Blue, vodka, wolf. Rum, I would say South Blue, bourbon, West Blue. tequila east, and I'd say vodka. No, yeah, I'd say vodka would be north. Rum and bourbon, I'm not sure. It could be south or west. I'm not sure. We look at them. Oh, dragon is facing west. He's facing west. Vegapunk, among those who heed your warning, many will act out of self-interest, not peace. We must hurry and achieve victory for our cause before the people of the world kill each other to secure habitable land. End of chapter. Doesn't say there's a break next week, but wow. Will Dragon finally do something? No, he won't. Personally, I see this is just another dragon talking thing. Unless he does something in the next 5 chapters before 1129, he ain't done shit. The different wolves, very interesting. That means the bridges are around the world being constructed. But man, this chapter, the main takeaway, the punk me alive. Okay, for me, the main takeaway: Saturn's death, Figalan being the new elder, and Saturn being the one who made the boss call to keep Emeth from being scrapped. In other words, Saturn 200 years ago basically kept the Wi-Fi hockey, the SSD hockey. Saturn himself made the boss call and said, keep Emeth's body. He told the scientists that, meaning Saturn made the boss call and gave us higher hockey because Shanks showed us Wi-Fi hockey to Green Bull. I say this is SSD hockey. This is HDD hockey. This nigga stored his hockey on a floppy disk. This is next level. But anyway, wow, what a chapter. What a chapter. I plan to release a video about the timeline today, but this chapter is so good, I have to stop editing that video and just focus on this. I'll try this out tonight. But what a chapter. I'll see you all next week for 1126.